celebrate. Yeah, just celebrate.
Yeah.
I'll never forget going to the first talk, I think, and I know my brother longer. And he gets up and starts reading. And he was just shocked.
So he's got my new guitar and I was just like really happy with it.
Good.
No, I was in Florida and I just thought I'd stop at the guitar center.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're none of the holidays, it's just
And I
big
didn't
ones.
want
Right.
Well, they're too big.
Hey, Mom.
Sure.
But the rest of
Where are
them, they're just traditional.
And I'm looking at them.
You said.
I mean,
Mine,
it's
the
great.
last one I
Oh,
wrote, years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2003.
That's the
I
claim.
read ones.
There's
We have to compete.
That's like number 13 for my son. I, you know,
We never
yeah,
practiced it.
you always might want to, I can collect cars. You know.
Why don't we do something else?
You know, that's, my good she's
I'm gonna start off.
Oh, I know, we never went to temple. I've never been to temple in my life.
Okay. Welcome to the board meeting, the CAN board meeting, and tonight we're supposed to talk about two things. One, we have a nominating time to do, to nominate our new board members for next year, and that will be a little bit later. They're coming. And the other thing we want to do is talk about what issues we should focus on for CAN next year, and what interests you as members that we should focus on. To give you a little idea of what CAN does or has done in the past, I will run down a couple of the issues that we're working on or have worked on. Our biggest one is communication. We report on the city and county council meetings, the Board of Appeals, Planning Board, and HPC. We feel that that's one of our main responsibilities is to get that out because those meetings aren't covered by the press anymore. And the city council meetings, they take minutes, but they don't show the minutes until 2 weeks later at the next meeting. And so you don't know, there's a lag of at least 2 weeks before you do it. And then to get the meeting, you have to go into the website and get them, where we send them to you. You can either read them or not read them. That's up to you. But you get it directly as a member. And we consider that whole operation of communications one of our key areas. The other one is code enforcement, which Judd will talk about in a minute. We're also interested in CWDI. It was big emphasis. We did a survey about the why going into CWDI. And that was quite different from what the Y had done. We're not sure why the difference, but ours showed that overwhelmingly people did not want the Y at Cambridge Harbor, nor did they want a marina for 125 different slips to compete with the city marina. And so I think we helped cool that idea down to maybe a docking place for a couple boats. That would be fine to come in and use the dock to go to the hotel. Great. But that's all that's needed right now. The other area we're interested in is Cannery Park. How many people here have heard about Cannery Park? Okay, Cannery Park was purchased by the city at 6.5 acres. They built a shed there that's going to be an amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater in the summer. They also are trying to build a dog park and 2 playgrounds, and it intertwines with the bike path that they're building that starts at Cedar Street Now goes to Washington Street. That's already existing. And they're going to extend it out to Woods Road. They have the funding for that. And later on, they hope to go to Linkwood, all the way down there. But in the city, there are concepts of taking the bike path to the Hyatt and to link it to the schools and the pool, so kids can get to the pool without going on the street to go through the bike path. These are good concepts. The city has already spent a couple $1 million buying the land, building the thing. We're concerned about whether they can maintain it and run it. I mean, it's one thing to build a facility, it's the next thing to run it. How are you going to run it? And so that's one of our concerns with Cannery Park. We would like to push forward. I think Cannery Park and the bike path is a gem. I mean, it's something really positive that the city council has done, but you just can't build it and leave it. You got to maintain it, and you got to publicize it. I mean, it's really nice. Shoreline resiliency, we've been involved with, and we've had speakers on that. That's the berm that's going to run from Marsh Park all the way around to Cambridge Creek. We've had speakers on that, and that's going to happen. People go, that'll never, it's going to happen. We have the administrative building. Okay, it's an $8 million job. They want to redo that, bring it back to be the center of town. And they have an interesting idea of selling the police department, the existing one, using those funds to basically fund the renovation of the administrative building. That's an interesting project. There's a side project on that, on the train garden, and whether to keep the train garden there or not keep the train garden there. There's a big discussion on that. We'd like to stay up on that kind of stuff. You got the Hearn building, which has all kinds of issues. We got increasing the police force. Right now, the police force is authorized 40 officers. They have 39 or maybe 40 coming. We used to have 52. To get to 52, again, would cost the city about $1.4 million. To get to 46, which I think is more reasonable, it's still $700,000. That's a lot of money to come up with. But when you talk about crime, you need police officers. And you look at the budget, and they got a $600,000 overtime budget, which says to me for less than 40 people, and the captain and the two lieutenants can't get overtime. You go, you going to burn them out? Are we going to burn them out? Or do we hire more? So it's an issue that we like to keep in front of us. We're also going to have a chief here in January to talk about the crime statistics for the year. So the January meeting, he'll be featured, and he has the complete report. So we're looking forward to that. We want to update the fire department equipment. We've been involved in that. We need to keep them up to date. Some of the equipment is like 30 years old. One of the pieces that cuts off on them when they're driving, you need to keep going. Again, it costs money. And so it's one thing to say to Brent, to say, yeah, buy that and fix it up. But, how you do it? How are you going to do it? Where the money is coming from? How can you get the money? But it's something we're concerned about. We've been involved in the marina. We got 3 docks that need to be replaced. You need to respace some of the larger slips down to smaller slips. There's a couple of $1 million needed in the marina to get it up to shape. Crime, I just talked about. We're always interested in that. Downtown development, we've lost Canvasback, we lost Jimmy and Sooks, we lost Theo's, we lost Snappers. We're going in the wrong direction. What is needed? Maybe we need some new ideas. Maybe we need some new incentives to bring people in and get involved. So what can do? We can look at what other people have done, what other cities have done, what incentives they've made to get restaurants and businesses here. It's not just restaurants, it's businesses. I think we should go down to Heidi in Sunnyside and pat her on the back. 13 years. 20 years? 20 years.
Main Street Gallery is 13 years.
Main Street Gallery. That's what it is. And somehow I have a connection to Main Street Gallery. And finally, the last one is interesting to me. You talk to people, and one of the big issues is schools. So what can we do about schools? Well, I'm not sure Cambridge is getting its fair share. Okay, the money goes to the county allocates it out. I think a lot of the money is going down county to these schools that they're keeping open because they don't want to face the wrath of the people. But they're very small populations in these schools, but they take a whole bunch of administration, a whole bunch of costs to keep the school open. So you should combine some of these schools. And because we're not doing that, we're wasting money, and we're wasting money downtown, and we're not putting the money here in Cambridge where we need it. So are we getting our fair share? I don't know, but there's ways to find out. Okay, so that's some of the issues that we're talking about. Judd wants to talk a little bit about the code enforcement. He's been very involved in that and what that means to you.
Thanks for coming tonight, everybody. My name's Judd Vickers. I live on Belvedere Avenue. And as Chuck mentioned, code enforcement is really, I believe, going to be one of our big priorities. It has been a priority for CAN, but we're looking forward to working with the new mayor and council and finding opportunities to perhaps even make some changes to the city code that might help enforce code and zoning a little better. We work with the city, we work with our elected officials regularly and our neighbors to identify problems and try to advocate for those neighbors to improve situations. We've been successful in some cases, others not so much. Zoning enforcement is another area where the city needs more help. They're not always aware of what's going on in the neighborhood, so it's important for neighbors to let us know if they're having an issue in their neighborhood, and we can look into it and maybe help advocate on their behalf. So we're looking forward to that in New Year.
All right, so we have a ton of issues in front of us, but we need to have people to do it. So if you're interested in helping us on any of these issues, talk to me and I'll get you involved. But the list I just read to you is what we talk about and what we're focusing on. What we want to do tonight is hear what you think. And Kim, are you gonna?
I can facilitate.
Okay.
You want?
Yes.
Thanks. So
Kim is our secretary.
interim secretary.
Interim secretary, going to be nominated tonight for secretary.
So we have two questions for you. So we would like everyone to, I was thinking, take my assistance. The first question, I'm hand out pens to pick your favorite color. sticky. You want fun now? Are you ready? Are you ready to eat? No? You ready to have a good Thanksgiving? All right, I'm gonna help you get that apart. Can you put something? And hand out the pen. Pick your favorite colors and put them on. Everybody takes 2 pieces of paper. You can split this in half, because you're only gonna need probably 2 notes there.
Art project.
So we're asking more now.
So the first question, everybody can have like 2 sticky notes, 2 Post-it notes.
Here. Do you need?
We're good.
When you have a Post-it note and a pen, I'll let you know. Yeah. You didn't think you were gonna have to do work, did you?
No doubt.
All right, so read it off to me.
Hanging off the baby's board.
What do you think is the most important issue going on within Cambridge? And this is going to tie to what can do, right? So just think about it in that context, right? We can't solve everything, right? All right, just keep that in mind. But what do you think is the most important issue within Cambridge? Okay, and if you could write 1 answer on the note, and then maybe if you have 2 answers, you can write it on another note, okay? And if you could print, that would be helpful, because then I could read it, all right? And then when you're ready, my assistants are gonna help gather the notes. And we should play music. You ready? We have another question. And then we're gonna take a quick break.
They are.
We'll do another question, especially if you want to organize them all. And you didn't, I was gonna say, you didn't have to come up with what Chuck was saying. I mean, you could come up with your own as well. I just want to preface that. I should have said that. Okay. Do we have everybody's stickies?
Nope, we still got some writing over here. You got it on that.
Right here.
That's fine.
Did you go there?
No, that's where my old paper was. That's where I grew up.
Oh, good. It's a pretty town.
Yeah.
Can we get your?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna write the other question while we're finishing that one up. Okay.
I know. Did you get it on?
What do you think CAN should focus on in 2025? Just keep in mind some of the things that we did last year. And also keep in mind the communication that you've been receiving. Is there some communication you'd like to receive more of or less of as well? Maybe you can give us some helpful hints on that.
Chuck kind of forgot the monthly newsletter, which I think is one of the best things that we do. And I think people really like that as an overview of what's going on.
Can we do more than one?
Yeah, you can do more than one, just as long as you have one answer on one sticky.
If you have two answers or one sticky, it's out.
Oh, we'll just
Ripples among us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure we can understand it.
Oh,
Well, that's the other
his
problem.
printing is much.
Do you struggle?
No, it's
His
not.
printing is
No, it's not. It's terrible.
What we have.
While everybody's filling this out, on the monthly newsletter,
These are.
has anybody got any
2025, right?
comments on how we can improve that, or do you like it? Do you?
I have to go.
Whoever does it is amazing. I know how much work that takes.
Yeah.
It's always informative.
Way to go.
Is the best section in it the sale of the houses? Is that what you go to? No.
I don't have questions.
Mike's doing it.
Hey,
Later. One of these.
Yeah, thank you.
Which question did we Which question, the right or the left?
what's most important or what you can focus on?
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Okay. Is same, right or left? One-on-one, one-on-one?
A lot of good info.
Yeah.
You know,
Do we have everything? Oh, we will. Okay, take your time.
So we
All
only
right,
went
so
to
let's try to,
we didn't go to regular house. We wanted the old house. We didn't- I don't think.
I don't know, Sharon, can you try to group these and I'll go through this one?
Sure.
Do we have one more?
Okay, so far, but it's early. Figured it out.
To the right or left? Yours are to the right? Or both? This side? Okay.
There's a strong association. Coming down from.
Downtown parking. That's probably not a can issue.
It is.
Okay. Do I have everything? Is that everyone's? Okay. All right, so we're going to,
Hang on, everybody. Hello, hello. You ready?
yeah, we're ready. All right, so now we're going to start on, what we did was we categorized these here.
Several code enforcement methods.
Yeah. All right, so we have some categories that are similar. So we have CWDI. All right, we have a number of people with CWDI. We have code enforcement and education, crime, community involvement, citizen involvement, and then this would be involvement in government decisions, managing growth, revitalization of downtown. And then this is penalizing the vacant, I guess for vacant buildings. Let's see, marketing Cambridge, so managing the growth. I think those kind of go together. We have racism.
Oh, sorry.
County tax rate, for Cambridge residents, the rate is too high given the services provided. The Cannery Park, the sea level rise, which I think probably has to do with the sewer and the resiliency project, right? Both. Enforcement of laws and regulations that are already in place. So these are all areas that people feel are important topics within Cambridge in general. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to prioritize these. What do you think are the most important? Okay. And I think instead of writing our sticky notes by a show of hands, I think would be a quicker way to do this because we have a lot more people just joined. How many feel CWDI is a top priority? I don't know how to, I guess, when you want to prioritize these things.
How many items do you have?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 here.
Okay.
So
So you get 6 votes. You can vote for 6 of these, and you'll see that whichever one ends up with the most votes is obviously but that way we'll get a 1, 2, 3. So everybody gets to vote 6 times for your top 6 out of 11.
But I think we have to keep in mind, what can actually do.
Well, this one-
can make a difference on some of these things.
yeah, well, this just has to do with Cambridge, and then we're going to do the CAN one. Yeah, this one, we're just trying to think about it in terms of Cambridge in general, because I think when we give our input, we also talk to our city council members and we provide input to them and say, as a representative of the community, we like to tell them, this is what the community has told us. So we like to say, this is what you all are telling us as priority, right? We feel like this is a top priority. This is the number one important thing to us. Now, this is not a formal survey. So this is just you're a few people out of many, right? So this is what's important to you, and we're asking you to prioritize. This is a very small sample size. I'm in research, so here I am. So now, I guess by a show of hands, how many feel that CWDI is a top
Can I
priority?
make a suggestion?
Yeah.
How many people do we have here?
I'd say we probably have about 20.
Exactly how many people we have?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. How do you like that?
That's pretty good, Ken. Okay. That means that when we total the votes up, they cannot exceed 120 votes across all 11 issues, or some ways many times.
Oh, that's very good.
True. Love that.
Come urgent that often.
So we used to do this, we'd give people little dots, and they can only get 3 dots. And they would put their 3 dots on their top 3 issues.
Yeah, but we're just going to.
I know. We'd only give them 3 opportunities to raise their hand. So
You want to cut it back?
yeah, I would cut it back to 3 opportunities to raise your hand. How many feel CWDI is a top priority?
So you get 3 votes.
3
instead of
votes. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. That's 17 out of 20. All right, code enforcement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Education. Education. 1, 2, 3. I just used up online. Everybody knows what I just voted on. Okay. Citizen involvement, community involvement, and with government decisions. 1? Okay. And managing growth, revitalizing downtown. One, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Teresa, did you get your hand up?
Yeah.
12, 13, 13, okay.
I thought it was 12.
Okay, crime. Crime,
What have we got left here? I don't know.
okay. Racism. Racism. Okay. One, okay.
Exhausted my folks.
Tax rate. Okay, we got one.
You brought that to include assessment, because really assessment drives taxes, not so much tax rate. If you include assessment, you got.
Tax burden.
Assessment. All right, and then enforcement of laws, regulations that are already in place.
Sorry, that's enforcement.
That's good.
Same as code enforcement. Code.
Oh, okay, so that should, okay, got it. Cannery Park. Sea level rise.
I think without that.
1, 2,
You're right.
It's gonna just
3.
push a lot of people in Cambridge.
We always
Three.
step on the boats.
Okay. All right, so I guess I better add these up and hold us all, maybe not everybody voted 3 times.
Well, it's still lopsided, does it really matter?
It's, okay, so I think everybody feels CWDI is important. Next important is managing growth, and then education and sea level rise. So I think we've got a pretty good.
Wasn't there cycle near 11 out of 20?
Code enforcement.
Right there.
Code enforcement, I only had one.
No, 11.
Oh, is it? Oh my God, I can't read my writing. I'm so sorry. Thank you for saying something. Yeah, so CWDI, code enforcement, managing growth. Yeah, those are the top 3.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So with the sea level rise and all that, in my mind, I'm thinking there is already a plan in place, it's being
Yes.
executed, it's in phases. What would be Ken's role in that?
Just to monitor it, just to make sure that, and that people's, and that it's happening, and that the plan that's being executed isn't impacting other people. Like, I can tell you where I live, there were people across the street that couldn't flush their toilet. I'm just hoping that now this plan isn't going to impact me across the street, and now that I can, because I was flushing my toilet, now that I can flush my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that change isn't now going to impact other people. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That the plan that they did put in place isn't now going to create problems for other people. I'm sure it'll be fine, but you don't know.
Well, the
until it's
berm thing
fixed.
that they're talking about, you talk to people and they don't believe it. They don't believe that.
The resiliency project?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
believe that there's gonna be a berm at the end of the street.
I've also heard people say that they don't think that it's well tested or something, that they don't even know if it's gonna work. And I didn't get that impression at all when it was being talked about. I felt like they did a lot of research on it, but
Yeah, I mean, White is gonna get it done. He's got funding for it and he's gonna push it through. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Back in the room.
yeah.
They do have scientists back in the room.
But is it gonna be a big issue? Yeah.
All right, so now the topic here is what should CAN focus on, okay? This is the city, this is Cambridge. Okay, this is city council and the mayor, and this is where we provide input and let them know what you all are thinking.
Can we rearrange the notes here, the top 3 across the top?
Yeah.
No, just move the post-it notes, so if they're
No,
at the
that's
top.
okay, she's circling.
I'm circling them, and then we're gonna send out minutes, so
Okay.
we'll definitely make sure you all get the minutes, and I'll take a picture of this. In fact, we'll even put it in the minutes, how's that?
I apologize, Andre During's here. I missed the very beginning of the meeting. So I'm not sure if we asked the very important question. How did all of you get notified and when to come to this meeting?
Email.
When did you guys find out about this meeting tonight?
Through the CAM notification.
Just recently or like a
Yes.
couple of weeks ago?
2 days ago.
There was one last week and one
Some-
yesterday.
Some are on
All
Facebook,
right,
some are
good,
on,
good. Just
yeah.
wanted to know because we had that discussion yesterday.
Yeah.
So about if we, there was a little glitch in our notification, but
yeah, sorry about that. All right, so what should CAN focus on in 2025? Looks like there's a lot of categories here. We have Mill Street development, Mill Street school development. We have downtown development. So should we put those together? They kind of go with,
But this Mill Street, is that about an old building?
Is that, does that say Mill Street?
it says Mill Street School.
Well, that's the old school building.
That's totally separate.
On-
Separate.
That's a separate idea.
There's a whole big thing going on behind the school that they're taking land, we bought land, and they're gonna be putting something in that's supposed to help with mitigation, storm mitigation.
Okay, and then we have a dog park.
Uh-huh.
We have downtown parking. We have maintain pressure on CWDI. Okay. Police force, more officers, continue to monitor city meetings. City government spending, community communication. I think that probably goes together with monitoring city meetings, right? And then insist on transparency
That one
of,
goes with the other two you just.
yeah, the government, yeah. Speak truth and power. That should go with the communications, right? Tracking city initiatives, CWDI, BERM administration building. That would probably go with the communications, right? Residents' involvement with community, commitment to improving quality of life in Cambridge. Okay. Getting blocks together, worldwide communication. And then code enforcement, lighted housements, code enforcement. And we have encouraging other neighborhoods to participate, helping to eliminate divisions in the town. Okay, I think we've narrowed that down pretty good. All right, so we have, let's go through some rankings here again. So we have Mill Street School Development. We'll start with the voting. Now we have more people. Okay, those who just joined, you get 3 votes, okay? Now we have what, 21 people? I think we had 2 people join. Let me add.
Yeah, Andre and
2 people joined. We now have 22 people.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the eliminate divisions in the town, wouldn't that go under communication? I kind of forget what. You were putting communication.
Help to eliminate, well, this one says encourage other neighborhoods to participate.
Yeah, well, that would be
Helping.
communication too.
Okay,
Both of those.
okay.
And wouldn't that go with the other things that you were saying, communication, or not really?
Helping to eliminate divisions in the town.
I think the only right hand and right, that's something. Us, right, that one that's holding your hand is really across, it's vertical versus horizontal. You've got vertical between us and the government. That's us going up to them and connect us.
Mhm.
The other one you're holding your hand is across, us going across to other neighborhoods, other parts of the city, not within the government.
Worldwide communications. So this is a different kind of communications.
Yep.
Okay. So it's communication in general, but it's how we communicate. And what we communicate.
That deals with how we disseminate what we find out, particularly our contact with the government. things that we find out that the government tells us they're planning to do,
Right,
we have to figure out how are we doing the best we can to disseminate that information across the entire community,
okay, okay.
I think.
So that should still all go with the communication, is what you're saying?
No, it's a separate.
Separate thing.
Okay. So this is the how, and this is the what?
No, that's vertical, up and down, government up here, we're down here. No, keep that there. No, keep it, no,
Okay,
right
okay.
there. The point, Ken, is this, okay? Okay. The government, us, is vertical. They're above us, we're below them, okay?
Okay,
We vote for them, but then once we vote them in, they run the show. That's vertical. That's that part on the right.
mhm,
Once we find out what they're doing, or they tell us what they're doing, the thing on the left, lower left, that's where we need to have a way of disseminating that information across the community. That's different than the first.
And that's one of the things that,
That's
that the newsletter
vertical versus
tries to
horizontal.
provide.
right.
What did you say, Sharon?
That's what the newsletter tries to provide,
Okay.
information that we've heard and collected up, we
But
try
how,
to
but
share.
who, but if you're not getting the newsletter,
Yeah. If you're not on the list,
how do
you
we
don't get
Oh,
the
just-
newsletter.
Just tell us you want to be on the newsletter.
no, I'm not saying that, but I mean, how do we get that information? Are there other ways besides the newsletter of getting that information out to the community? That's the question.
Well, we have the website, which is a public website. Anybody can look at the website. So we can just, through different channels, let people know that that's a public website. Anybody can look. So it's not like you need to be on an email list.
All right, well, we could maybe just talk about, we can maybe, we have that on our agenda, talk about our communications, how we can improve on that too. All right,
And if you have
can I-
ideas of something different, we'd like to.
Yeah, let's talk about
I'm just
that
thinking about
after
public
this.
accounts that are
After
publicity
this.
campaign.
Yeah, let's discuss that. Okay, so we're voting now. So 3 votes to 22 people. Mill Street, how many feel Mill Street development is important to them?
Mill Street, did you say?
Mill Street,
The school.
Mill
Has
Street
it been
School
sold
Development.
again?
I don't know the status
No,
of
same
it.
owner.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He sold off part of the backyard.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I know what it is.
for Can to really stay after CWDI.
Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, that is my first. All right, police force. What can do to help support the police force? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we try to do this community policing.
Okay. All right, Can and communications. This is us sitting at county meetings, city meetings, taking notes, unofficial notes, posting them for everyone to review. Again, they're unofficial notes. This is probably maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
And we have Allison here who does the city council.
Yeah.
And she does a much better job than the person we had doing it.
Oh, stop.
Downtown parking. Downtown parking. Anything we can do about that? I don't know. I don't. Well, I mean, we can put it over here if you want.
I just don't know what can actually help you with that.
Dog park.
Well, that's gonna be isn't that part of Cannery Park? That's one of the things
Is
they
it?
want to put in
Yeah.
there.
I can put it with Cannery. Is that on here?
No, it's not.
It was,
Oh,
hard to say it.
where did it go?
It's on the other board.
It's on that board, but it's not on the can board.
Well, then, it could be.
Anyone, I had 2 people.
Dog park.
Dog park. 1,
Can you include Cannery in that?
sure, we have a can.
And I
There could be 2 dog parks, okay?
Yeah,
Because
I have volunteered.
All right, how
I
many
mean,
for Cannery
there's
and
one-
dog park? Let's just throw that in there.
they're thinking about, they got the layout for the one at Cannery Park. So I think that one's going in. But I also heard they were thinking about the back of Mill Street, putting in a dog park.
But if
That
it was
was my
sold,
idea.
It was so,
I
Sold
thought
to
you
the
said
city.
it was
It was
sold.
sold to the city.
It's sold to the city.
Oh.
Because they're gonna be
Oh.
doing some kind of
You can't really,
mitigation for rainwater.
you can't really build there. And all the builders, they have all these great plans of building there. But to find the rock bottom to build anything, you gotta go down like 20 or 30 feet. And as soon as they find that out, they go, oh,
I thought that's where there was a stream or a spring.
yes, there was a
Yeah,
stream.
There used to be a race back there, but it's been filled in and it's, you know, when we get heavy rains, people on Choptank Avenue get inundated with flooding in their backyards. And so they're working on some kind of plan. But if you're not one of those neighbors that gets the letters about it, you don't hear too much about it. And I'm not one of those neighbors that gets the letters, but
You see that?
they're working on,
Yeah. That's something Kane could promote with city council, say, you know, we'd like to see a dog park down there.
All right,
Instead of
so,
that dinky fence that's been there for 20
All right.
years.
all right, show of hands for dog park, Cannery Park again.
Well, I don't know.
You got two hands up.
You said I had 3 votes.
I don't think you can use it.
Well, Kim
Yeah.
and everybody else, there is that group that Anne Roan
Yep.
is trying to start.
And she needs help.
I know, and I've been in communication with her, friends.
Friends of Cannery Park.
Friends of
Oh,
Cannery
Friends of
Park.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, she put it off until January because she was gonna be away and.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
holidays
we've talked
and
to
everything.
Ann, and Kane is gonna get involved in it.
All right, so downtown development. What should Can focus on?
Well, no, you're good
Brad's got that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anyone over here downtown development? All right, we have our communication in terms of
Horizontally.
how we do this to the community.
Yes.
And you're gonna give us some feedback on that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
8, count me
Yeah.
in.
Okay, on that line, the newsletters that we put out monthly, contact the Empowerment Center. We got close contact with the Empowerment Center, so we try to find out what they're doing so we can promote that. And we also contact Linda Harris with the Tubman Museum. She has good contacts, and she gives us some stuff. So we're trying to work with those two groups in particular to get word out to the Black community. And as you can see, we don't do well with the Black community at these meetings. I mean, I don't know what we have to do to get people here, but we've been trying, but we don't seem to be successful. But that's the two that we work with on a monthly basis.
All right, we
maybe
got
add Veronica Taylor to your list.
Mr. McFadden, to the new mayor. I'm Greg
That might be a good
McNamara. I would say that a lot of the issues the communities you're talking about are bread and butter issues. You've got a wonderful newsletter. It's well written, but it's at a very high level. It's important issues to Cambridge and to this community, but they're high level economic issues. We're almost talking about political theory in this room and dog parks, and you've got people who can't pay their bills in Cambridge. Parents who can't read to their children in order to help them get a proper education. We've got derelict people who are hanging around downtown. We've got issues like this that are running through the West End and other parts of Cambridge. And I think that there's a lot of luxury in the conversation one we're having in this room right now. And that's one of the reasons why we don't reach people who we hope to reach. I'm sorry if that sounds contentious. I don't mean for it to.
No, but how would you suggest that be done?
I don't know what the answer to it is. I really don't, but I suppose that it begins in the schools and in parenting and in the churches. I'm not a religious man
But I mean, in
myself, but
terms
I'm,
of Can, how do you think can better address those issues?
Lord, I don't know. The Christmas parade might be one place people go to. Is the post office a place? Where do people go? Walmart. I don't know how to reach out to the community the best possible way, but I can say that on my block, 300 block of Willis Street, there are very few people who are involved in or trust conversations like this one.
Can I just
Look at the library. The library is probably one of the key resources for the people who are at the very bottom of the totem pole economically in this town. There are people this time of year, because they closed the Salvation, or I'm sorry, just reopened, but until December the 1st, from some point in October, they closed the Salvation Army homeless shelter, which was the only shelter in town. And what was happening was, after the library closed, people were coming and sleeping on I'm on the board, sleeping on the front porch of the library because they thought it was about the safest place they could be.
Well,
And the library probably gets a lot of, we get a lot of stuff. We get a lot of things going on in the library that have nothing to do with books, where people are coming in and spending hours in the library just to stay warm this time of year.
Are we still voting?
Got two more to go, so let's finish that. So, and that actually speaks to one thing that Ken might be able to assist with. So I think it ties nicely to this. So residents' involvement with the community, commitment to improving quality of life in Cambridge. So what can CAN do to,
Well, how many people want to vote on it?
okay, but I think that speaks to what everyone is talking about in this room. What can CAN do to reach out to different populations within the community, different wards?
Doesn't that tie in though to the other one?
I don't think so. I think that's
No.
different. I think that's an outreach program. I think that's a different thing.
You know what I think, that if there's someone who has knowledge and information, that there's a place, like I kept trying to volunteer and I couldn't get it and nobody would take me to volunteer. It was the craziest thing. Oh, I tried to volunteer working with kids because I was a school social worker for 30 years in Bed-Stuy. And 3 or 4 years ago, there was this big adolescent issue. I spoke to the police chief. I spoke to the mayor. I spoke to some woman who's since died. And I couldn't get anywhere to, I mean, why would reinvent the wheel when I have all of this experience working in trauma in Bed-Stuy? And if there was a place where people could go to volunteer, or a list
Social
or something where you say, okay, this is the name and the phone number of a person where I can call to go volunteer, that would be really helpful to disseminate among the community, because then maybe people would do that.
In today's world, you have, especially if you're working with young people,
You have to get,
you have to have so many
Yes.
different clearances.
you do.
And they're not
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
You have to spend over $100
Yeah.
to get your own clearances. That is a big drawback
Yeah.
to a lot of volunteer used to be especially the small
That's if you're
countries.
working directly with children, you have to be
Yeah.
fingerprinted.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
No,
not
that's not
just
true,
fingerprints. You
because-
have to have a state police clearance. You have, okay.
I work for this, at Sandy Hill, and so does Linda, volunteer reading with children. And we did have to have a background check, but it wasn't any cost to us, and we didn't have to be fingerprinted.
And
Well, sometimes organizations
I
pick
think
it up.
Pennsylvania's Act 33 over that.
Okay, well,
Yeah, Pennsylvania is very strict. I went through that.
But
I volunteer
I
too.
had an idea. CAN already works with the city council.
Mhm.
And, who do I think of who can help me with the quality of life in my very nice little neighborhood? I would go to their city council. And in the past, we've reached out to our city council member and got no response. Now, I think CAN can definitely work with the city council, you already do, and start getting information to how do you create in each of the neighborhoods as different makeup, what works in that neighborhood. Having a meeting like this doesn't maybe, but maybe the city council in some of the poorer neighborhoods could come up with ideas and share with you and how you can reach people there.
What are the last two?
This is just code enforcement. So we have to vote on code enforcement. How many feel code enforcement is a priority for CAN? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I would like to vote.
All right, and then the last one has to do with what we were just talking about. How many feel that this improving quality of life within,
I'm out of vote, so.
oh yeah, my lord, residents' involvement, community involvement, in one, one shift. And this can also mean, we also did like cleanup projects, right?
We've done cleanup
We did
projects.
physical cleanup projects,
And we've gone and helped
Habitat for Humanity, that kind
elderly
of stuff.
people. We painted porches. We've
Yeah.
torn down sheds. We've torn down fences for people. I mean, that's just a neighborly thing that we do. Although it has twists to it. And the twist is, does the person really need it? Or are they just looking for free labor? I mean, geez, I don't know. I mean, most of the people we know them, so we know their financial situation and we can jump in. But some people we don't know, we're going.
Well, you might have to make them fill out a form of, like, what is their annual income or something.
Well, I mean, you know what? We don't.
actually
We
good.
really want to do it as a neighborly thing. Association of Neighborhoods,
And we have the power washer.
and we have a power
washer.
washer. We have a power washer in case anybody wants to borrow.
All right, do we want to vote on this one, anybody?
No, out of
Votes left?
But if you were to vote on it, could you vote? Would you want to vote on it?
Yes.
Should we give everybody a vote? We'll give a bonus vote for everyone.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay,
I don't have a bonus.
we're giving everybody a vote.
Okay. So what's the top?
We have CWDI, which is a, trend, obviously. We have the communication that we do, in general, that we attend the meetings and we capture the unofficial notes. And then we have code enforcement. And then some sort of,
Housing in the city, is that what we're really talking about there?
sorry, the code
We're
enforcement?
actually talking about derelict housing in the city.
Yeah, and
We're talking about a number of
Judd can
issues.
get into more details.
We got trouble with homes for different addictions or.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, where the state pays the
Boarding
landlord.
homes, and we got issues with some of the boarding homes that they're overcrowded, way overcrowded. And that the landlords are not fixing up the place.
Right.
They're not the code. And we can't get the city to come in and raise hell. I mean, if the landlord, which are making a ton of money off this stuff because the state's paying, they're not using the money to fix up the house. The house is not in compliance with the existing code. And so the city needs to get more involved. You go to the city and we've been told we got higher priorities.
It'll change in 30 days.
Hopefully you will.
And Section 8 is not the issue, actually. Section 8 has a required inspection process, and there's a dedicated inspector on the Eastern Shore for Section 8, the voucher program. The problem is houses that are maintained by landlords that are not taking good care of them. In many cases, there are people living there that are perfectly fine. In other cases, there are criminal elements circulating in and out of our community from other areas, and these very poorly maintained properties that are often not in compliance with either zoning or code. And just one or two problem houses is creating major issues in neighborhoods all over the city.
And oftentimes landlords don't live locally. They're corporations.
That's what I was just gonna ask, is how much of the rental stock in town is locally owned versus how much is not?
That I couldn't tell you the absentee
I
statistics.
mean, I know it's 55 houses
Do you
in
want to
Ireland,
ask,
and Spear owns them, but that's.
how they would
That's
like
it.
to be communicated?
Judd, isn't there also a problem of houses
Do you want to
that
ask about how they
are
like
multi-family
communication?
units and then when they sell,
How they like.
they're supposed to
How they would like their
go back to
communication.
single family
Correct.
and a lot of that's
I'm
just
all
being ignored.
Correct. So
Do
in,
they- do
they're
they
called
like the
non-conform, legal non-conforming. So an apartment house, a house that was a single family and converted to apartments anywhere in the city, is a legal non-conforming use as long as that continues. But the city, for over 15 years now, has required that if those uses lapse for 90 days, so if that property is entirely vacant, that has to revert to single family use. Enforcing that is more than a notion. You need neighbors to identify it, find out what's going on, and then report it to the city. The city has had mixed experiences in the past enforcing that. Pat Escher was wonderful. She would send letters to the folks letting them know it wasn't in compliance. Several were forced back to single family use, especially when they went through the foreclosure process. Others are more challenging, and we're still dealing with a couple challenging properties where landlords just ignore or try to get away with things. But it's really a disinvestment, right? When you put money into that house to make it a single family home, you have to upgrade it. You have to restore that house to a decent standard. And there are sizes, right? So it fits all budgets. You know, there are small houses, there are larger houses. I mean, there are some houses that were 1,200 square feet that were converted to 2 or 3 apartments, which just doesn't even make sense. Thank you, Christine. That's a good question.
Yes.
Just curious about something. When we were talking about the issue of communicating about CAN and your reporting in the newsletter, which is very good. I was curious, like in Longboat, we have a Facebook page with something like 105 followers. And, you know, you can talk about an important issue, but if you talk about dog poop, you'll have 60 people comment on it. You know, but so people are looking at that kind of stuff. Within Cambridge, how many organizations have their own, you know, whether it's official or whatever, Facebook page?
Mhm.
I mean, because I can post the CAN stuff on the Facebook page and it's going to reach, I think, well, the 100 and some
Well,
households.
And we
would
do.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Huh?
We would appreciate that.
Yeah, but have you contacted the different communities to see if they have their own, you know, a lot of them are just
No,
impromptu.
no, we haven't.
That is something that people look to for information. You know, that they don't know about that. And what's the thing, neighborhood?
Nextdoor. So we do post on
Nextdoor.
Nextdoor. We post on Nextdoor. We post on Operation Cambridge, both private and public. And we just established a new Facebook page this week because our old one apparently was taken over. I have no idea how it's hacked. Well, the private account was hacked, which means that the person who was owning the business account can't get into it. So I don't think that the business account was hacked. I think that she just can't get into our account. So we had to establish another one, or we're trying to gain access to the old one.
Do you have a listing of the different neighborhoods that are associating themselves with CAN in any way to know, just to ask, you know, do you all have a Facebook page? Because, you know, as crazy as Facebook is with stupid comments, I shouldn't say stupid, but there are a lot of comments to crazy stuff.
We've been trying to organize the different communities that surround us. Our membership, we're up to 1,100 people in CAN. And we got a lot of Ward 1 and Ward 5 members. We're expanding in the other wards. We're really on the suburbs on the outside, Longboat Estates and all this kind of, these new developments all on the outskirts. they have different problems than the people in Ward 1 and Ward 5. And what we've been trying to do is get them together to find out what they could do, what their issues are. I know you have issues with the sidewalks, which are unreal. I mean, I rode over there and looked around, the sidewalks in some places are that,
We found out that it was a city official who told them to move the trees from
Right.
where they originally planted. And they buckled on the side. They're starting to buckle the curb in the street now.
but I mean, it's just throughout the whole community. Anybody can walk on the sidewalks.
We've already had 2 injuries.
Right,
People falling.
Where is this?
Longboat.
Longboat Estate.
So partly,
Okay.
Chuck,
But-
can I? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
To partly answer your question, we do have a list, which I'm happy to share with you, of all of the HOAs in the city. And we've slowly been reaching out to homeowners associations to try to, as Chuck said, find out what the common thread is with issues. And it's a lot of very similar issues in a lot of areas. The differences in the power in the HOAs that don't exist in a lot of the traditional or older neighborhoods is you have covenants that have, you have the ability to enforce things without necessarily relying on city government to do it. So, and I'll just give chickens and roosters as an example. A lot of, a neighborhood came to me complaining about roosters in their neighborhood. They're not banned in the city of Cambridge, actually, but they were banned in this particular HOA. So that HOA, I said, you need to look at your covenants, send your covenants out to your neighbors and enforce your covenants and tell them they can't have, you really could go to the HOA instead of the city to
What's
correct
the
that
community
issue.
behind the dollar store?
That's Blackwater Cove.
Blackwater Cove. Okay, so Blackwater Cove came to
Yeah.
Cannes after going to the city, and they asked us to help them out with a fence between Dollar General and their community. So we went and we talked to Tom Carroll at the time, and he put in the fence. He said, yeah, we'll put in the fence. The other thing Tom did, he said, I like that y'all know what's going on. He put $15,000 in this year's budget for small projects in these communities. Okay? So I think that's a check for Can for bringing it up and working with the city to solve. I mean, what is a little problem to you, it might be a big problem to them. It was a big problem to them, and so we worked with the city and got it done. And I think that's the importance of this civic association, is that we can work with the city and we can help educate things like the marina. We came in and looked at the marina and said, the rates are too low. You should raise the rates. And I know everybody's gonna say, well, hell, I got a boat down there. I don't want the rates to go up. But the only way you're gonna fix that marina is to raise the rates up enough to fix the thing. You can't go to the city and say, we need all this money and have no way of financing it. Okay? But if we raise the rates up enough that we can float a loan to do that, and they can pay it with fees, then the city has a win. Okay? And then we have to educate everybody that this is, what we need to do. The rates in the Cambridge Marina are lower than what we paid over in Solomon 20 years ago. I mean, it's like, they're ridiculously low. They're now increasing them. But that's the kind of stuff, we can't put it on the city and say, just do it. Okay? We gotta be able to figure out a plan to help the city, and then we gotta educate everybody. This is what we need to do this. It's like the police. I mean, we should have more police, I think. How do you get there? Where's the money coming from? So,
Just one of the things, because you have so many different
communities, I'm gonna call it, I don't know how those, exactly where the division lines between some of the older communities are, but if you, do you have representatives from most of these communities?
No,
No. Well, that,
one.
because I was gonna say, it would be great if you had a list, okay, by community. What are some of your biggest issues? Okay, now what are some of your, and you're gonna find,
That's what we want to do.
you're gonna find a lot of intermingling. And the HOAs would be the same thing.
Right. I mean, that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
But we have what about, do we have 11 or 16,000 people in Cambridge? How many people live in Cambridge?
13,000.
13.
We daily reach 4,200 people with anything that can done, because again, there's in two Facebook groups that reach us over 4,000 people. That's about a third of the population sees that. So, but I agree with you, we need to get some other additional groups in this, so go from 4,000 to 8,000. Then,
And
because people look at that.
next door reaches 13,000 as well.
So then, okay, then we already have 6,000.
Yeah.
It's an overlap. So, we reach a large number of people through these groups already. Now, there's still, so there's probably
If you do the
6,000, 7,000
surrounding-
outreaching.
But also, there's a
Well,
lot
it's
of
Westchester,
people on
West,
there. Well, I don't
it's
really
all
know
of
what
Cambridge.
the number is, but there are people on there that do not live in Cambridge. That is for sure, because,
No, it's just a larger.
At least
group,
that's what it says.
yeah, it's,
Well, that's what it
they
says.
used to live here and they live somewhere else now and they want
That's
to
all
keep
right.
up with. Yeah, I know, but it's not, they're just.
I remember
It's
looking
not
at
true.
Do you want to do nominations?
60,000
Yeah.
people, so we already reached.
We need to do our nominations for next year. Where'd Roman go?
He's right behind you.
It's behind you.
Roman? You're on. And then we'll wrap this up.
And you can all eat cake and pie and cookies.
We were supposed to do this in the beginning of the meeting, but I failed to show up on time, and I'm thoroughly embarrassed because of that. So we're putting this at the end of the meeting. So just some keeping for the board. So Tom Puglisi has stepped down from his activities as county board. He was the secretary, and he's the one that produced all the those wonderful newsletters, and along with Chuck. So he's moved, and we'd like to nominate Kim to be the next secretary. So we're looking for, we're not voting today, but we're nominating Kim for secretary. Other members for renewal are Sharon, myself, and Andre. So we're not voting for anyone at this meeting. It'll be at our next January meeting for voting in for the members. We are looking for, we do have some room for additional board members. So if you are interested and would like to participate in this great organization, please see Chuck or myself if you would like to participate as a board member. I think that's about it. I don't want to stand.
Do we, I think
Do we
we,
need a motion to nominate these people, or is it just?
Yes, exactly.
I would like to nominate the foregoing people that you mentioned.
Thank you. Second,
I will second that.
Judd is second. Teresa.
All in favor, say
All in
aye.
favor?
All in favor? I guess
Aye.
that's voting, and we were supposed to vote on
Well, we
that.
vote on the nomination.
Yeah, vote on the nomination. Okay, very good. Keep that straight. Thank you.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
All opposed, hearing none. Meeting closed?
All right.
Adjourned?
Time to eat.
Oops.
I just have one question.
Yes.
There are 2 mounds of dirt down by the boat launch. Does anybody know what's being done with them?
The boat launch by Sailways?
Yes.
I think it has to do with the promenade. I don't know that, but I think that's correct.
They're like, can do breakwater to protect the property, or? I don't.
There's supposed to be a promenade all
Yeah, I
around
know.
the circumference of the Cambridge Harbor.
Right.
What they're doing is they're going from,
Thanks, Chip.
maintenance around to the boat thing and then up
They're like,
the
what do I
boat
say?
thing, the boat launch. Not the thing, the boat launch. They're coming up with the walkway, and then, the next phase, they're going on the other side of the boat launch, down to the river and then around.
I just,
Okay.
She knew what all the dirt was for.
They just moved,
started moving.
they just started moving to put it in.
I just wondered
Yeah.
what was being done, you know.
That's what they're doing now. That's one of the things that's already funded. And with CWDI, we have new members on the CWDI. The first meeting with the new members, much more open. They actually let me ask 2 questions and didn't yell at me. I've been to other meetings where I tried to ask a question and they shout at me.
Yeah.
But this one, they were open. There was a lot more information shared. What we don't have, and it's an interesting thing, and I like to talk to everybody over cookies and cake. Ken knows what it doesn't want there. Okay, but when the board started talking about what we do want there, okay, what do you want there? That's where it got dicey. And everybody has different opinions. So let me know what you want there. I mean, what do you want?
Can I ask you
Well, I'm a professional, successful developer. In order to him and let him go at.
Yeah, but what?
Yeah. And there was a survey though. The survey doesn't count for anything now?
What they claimed the community wanted wasn't what the community wanted, so I don't trust anything that they do.
Right.
A whole new process.
No.
Well, no, they didn't do it. They had the BCT do
Yeah.
it, BCT design.
Ken can do professional surveys, okay? And we showed that with the Y survey.
I think that would be a good idea.
So we can put together something, but it's kind of like, I like to hear what you have in the back of your mind as like what you would like to see. Some people want parks. They want lots of parks, okay? Lots of parks don't bring in money. I want lots of restaurants because I go all the way over to St. Michael's or Oxford. I go to Oxford to sit on the water and eat crabs. Okay? There's 2 restaurants over there, and how little Oxford can hold 2 restaurants and we can't hold 1 on the river. I don't know. And I'm not talking about a high-end one on top of the hotel. I'm talking about a crab claw type.
But there's a linkage between our downtown initiative and revitalization.
Right. How's that work together?
What we don't have here is people traffic, which St. Michael's has and Oxford and those. We need to get people in here.
We're the only ones on 50. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Tricia and I used to come over the Bay Bridge, and as you came over the Bay Bridge, to the right was a big sign that said Hemingway's. It's now something else. Louis. And you go, oh, let's stop and get something to eat. You had to have breadcrumbs to find how to get to the Hemingway's. It was off the road and down the thing and around. But we made it. We got there. To have a place lit up there, to me, that's revenue generating, and that does me. I got enough parks with.
Well, it's my understanding.
But that's my
some
opinion.
Some kind of an agreement that what is right along the water has to be parked.
No, just the promenade.
Just has to have
Oh,
public
just the
access.
promenade,
Just public access.
okay.
Okay, but if you go down there and look now, even now, where the swimming hole is and the playground,
Mhm.
you go to, they're used. They are used a lot. This car's down there all the
I
time.
know,
I
yeah.
mean, so you go, well, maybe
But we
we,
don't need it the whole length of the.
right. We don't need it the whole length, but you go, well, that's obviously a need. Because people are there. I mean, I was surprised. Teresa and I went by there a couple times at night during the summer, and it was 20 cars there.
Yep. Well, plus they fenced off the area across from the old pink mansion.
Right.
People used to be able to
Yeah,
go off
you used to be able to go down there.
there.
Yeah. So let us know what you would like to see there. Okay? Not just we don't want the why there, which we don't want the why there.
And established.
85% of the stuff.
Yeah, 85% don't want the why.
They've been very quiet.
They've been very quiet. Right.
That's why you have to maintain pressure, because if we just let that thing go, if we start to ignore it,
Right.
it'll creep back in. Trust
Well,
me.
the Y has two problems. One, if it goes to Cambridge Harbor, it doesn't generate any money, and that's
Right.
the main purpose. And two, we have an empty school building sitting in the middle of a neighborhood, which reminds me of Mill Street. Okay, and we're gonna look at
By the way,
another,
it's 2 blocks away from all the sports facility land you would ever want for this little town.
right, exactly. So, I mean, to me, I'm very nervous about an empty school ending up in the middle of the neighborhood.
And parking, the amount of parking you would need.
Oh, they never even addressed that. They never even addressed the parking. They said there's plenty of parking across the street where all to go to play on the playground. Well, we'll knock those out. The Y thing is a bad idea.
Oh, sure.
But
What's
what-
wrong with just having a developer come in? and
Oh, but-
economically
okay.
decides what to do with the land. You go,
Well,
that makes
okay, but I
sense.
mean, you gotta get them, a developer come in, but you gotta say, oh, that looks good, and what is good? Okay, and that's what we need to work on, is the positive for Cambridge Harbor, not just the negative.
This has been brought up before, but I think it's worth saying again. You know, like a lot of people seem to want music in some kind of venue to show that off down at the water, but you know, we do have other places that, you know, we have the packing house and we have, you know. how
Well, they just
many-
they just spent a couple million putting in that place down there, which is a first-class place. It's got bathrooms, it's really nice looking. Tim Crosby designed it, did an excellent job, fits in with the rest of the thing. I mean, looks good, but it's a shell, okay? So if you want to use it, how are you going to use it?
How are you gonna make it safe?
Tell them the amphitheater behind the backing house itself.
Right. And I mean, it's really nice, but do you need two? Okay, and it's only the summer you can use these things. You can't do it like on a night like tonight. And what plans does the city have to actually do something there? Okay, so let me know what your positives are. I would appreciate that. And we can adjourn to the cookie counter and end this meeting.
We have a sign.
Thank you all for coming out on such a cold, nasty night.
Lots of cake. I'm getting homemade cake. A homemade